Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lays foundation stone for India's biggest oil refinery project in Barmer district, says that the earlier Congress regime in Rajasthan deceived people by just laying foundation stones. After a visit to the Taj Mahal in Agra, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to address geopolitical conference at the Raisina dialogue today. 26/11 attack survivor Moshe Holzberg visits Chabad House in Mumbai. Supreme Court observes that targeting adult men and women opting for intercaste marriage is absolutely illegal, underlines that no Khap Panchayat individual or society can question couples. And record number of 1.75 lakh Muslims to undertake Hajj pilgrimage from India. Government says that in line with the Supreme Court's order, there will be no subsidy for pilgrims from this year. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the commencement of the work of an oil refinery in Rajasthan's Barmer district today. The project, costing over 43,000 crore rupees, is likely to be completed by 2021. At the inauguration, the Prime Minister said the previous regime in the state had just deceived people by laying foundation stones for projects, doing nothing for the poor.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday inaugurated the commencement of work for the first oil refinery in Rajasthan's Barmer district. The project, that is estimated to cost 43,129 crore rupees, will be the first Indian greenfield refinery designed to produce BS6 grade fuel. Addressing the public at the launch, the Prime Minister urged the people to aim towards creating a new India by 2022.
कि 2022 तक इस रिफाइनरी का कार्यारंभ कर देंगे। मुझे विश्वास है ये संकल्प सिद्धि बनकर के रहेगा और जब देश आजादी के 75 साल मनाता होगा तब यहां से देश को नई ऊर्जा मिलना प्रारंभ हो जाएगा।
Taking pot shots at the previous Congress government in the state, Modi said drought and Congress travel hand in hand in the state.
कि राजस्थान में कांग्रेस और अकाल ये जुड़वा भाई है। जहां कांग्रेस जाएगी वहां अकाल साथ साथ जाता है। और वसुंधरा जी के भाग्य में लिखा हुआ है, जब भी उनको सेवा करने का मौका मिला, इस सूखी धरती को पानी मिलता रहा।
The refinery project is a joint venture between Hindustan Petroleum Corporation and Rajasthan government. With a 9 million ton per annum capacity, it will be the biggest refinery ahead of HPCL refinery in Mumbai that has a capacity of 7.5 million tons per annum and Visakhapatnam that has an 8.3 million ton capacity. On completion by 2021, the refinery cum petrochemical complex will create 40,000 indirect employment opportunities during peak construction period and 10,000 direct jobs. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, in the first signs of a thaw in the ongoing crisis in the Supreme Court, Chief Justice of India Deepak Mishra met the 4 dissenting judges on Tuesday. A PTI report quoting highly placed sources in the Apex Court said that the Chief Justice met the 4 judges, Justices J. Chalameshwar, Ranjan Gogoi, M.B. Lokur and Kurian Joseph, for about 15 minutes before starting the normal work of the day. The report claimed that the meeting was called by CJI Mishra himself and it will continue on Wednesday as issues raised at Tuesday's meeting remained unresolved. Details on what transpired during the meeting are not yet known. Earlier in the day, Attorney General K.K. Venugopal had expressed hope that the crisis will fully be settled in 2 to 3 days. Supreme Court Bar Association President Vikas Singh also exuded confidence that there was a likelihood of the crisis being resolved by the end of this week. Well, the Supreme Court has directed the Maharashtra government to give all documents pertaining to the death of Justice B.H. Loya to petitioners seeking an independent probe into the circumstances of his death. Appearing for Maharashtra, senior advocate Harish Salve told the Supreme Court bench that documents contain certain confidential material that cannot be shared in public. The petitioner's counsel assured the court that none of the documents relating to the case would be made public. The court then directed the Maharashtra government to share all documents with the petitioners within a week. The court then adjourned the hearing in the case for a week without specifying any date. CBI Special Judge B.H. Loya had died of a cardiac arrest in Nagpur on December 1, 2014. The Supreme Court has also termed attacks on couples by Khap Panchayats absolutely illegal. The Apex Court said if an adult man and a woman marry, no Khap, Panchayat, individual or society can question them. The Supreme Court said that any kind of collective attack on a boy or girl who are adult is absolutely illegal. A bench of Chief Justice Deepak Mishra and Justices A.M. Khanwilkar and D.Y. Chandrachud asked the centre to give its response on suggestions earlier given by amicus curiae Raju Ramchandran on ways to prevent harassment and killing of young couples in the name of family honour. The top court added if the government does not enact a law to protect couples opting for intercaste marriage, the court will evolve a principle and lay down guidelines. The court has listed the matter for February 5th for further hearing. Another big news of the day now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday kicked off for the third day of his India trip with a visit to the Taj Mahal in Agra. He was accompanied by his wife Sarah. Netanyahu, who was received by UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath at the airport, was accorded a traditional welcome. In a short while, the Israeli PM will inaugurate the third edition of the geopolitical conference Raisina Dialogue in Delhi. He will be the first foreign head of government to speak at the conference. PM Modi and External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will also be a part of the inaugural session of the three-day conference. Netanyahu is slated to visit Gujarat on Wednesday along with Prime Minister Modi. The two leaders will hold a roadshow there. In Gujarat, visiting Israeli PM will present Modi a special gift, the Gal Mobile water desalination and purification jeep the two leaders rode on Israel's Olga Beach last year. The jeep is said to cost around 390,000 shekels, approximately $111,000. Netanyahu arrived in India on Sunday on a 6-day visit. Well, Moshe Holzberg or Baby Moshe visited Nariman House, also known as Chabad House in Mumbai, on Tuesday, where his parents lost their lives in the 26/11 terror attack. Moshe, who is now 11 years old, was accompanied by his grandfather. Moshe arrived in Mumbai today for the first time since the tragedy struck the family over 9 years ago. Rabbi Holzberg, the grandfather of Moshe, said it's a very special day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had met Moshe and his grandparents during his visit to Israel in July last year and told him that he could visit India anytime. Well, in other news now, there will be no subsidy for Hajj from this year. Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi made the announcement on Tuesday. Naqvi said the move to abolish the subsidy for Hajj pilgrims was in accordance with the Supreme Court order. Naqvi told the media that despite the subsidy withdrawal, a record number of 1.75 lakh Muslims will undertake the pilgrimage this year from India. He also said that the Saudi Arabian government has in principle agreed to allow Hajj journey from India by ships. Officials of the two countries will sit together to finalize the modalities.
जो हज सब्सिडी थी, उस हज सब्सिडी का जो समाज के शैक्षणिक सशक्तिकरण में इस्तेमाल होगा, ख़ास तौर से लड़कियों, बच्चियों के, महिलाओं के शैक्षणिक एजुकेशनल एम्पावरमेंट के लिए उसका इस्तेमाल किया जाएगा, ताकि जो है वो जो शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में एक पिछड़ा हुआ है समाज, उस शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में उसको बराबरी का एहसास कराया जा सके, उसका सशक्तिकरण कराया जा सके.
Well, moving on now, President Ramnath Kovind has called for a new regulatory system to enhance availability of doctors and medical professionals in the country. Addressing the 45th convocation of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi, President Kovind expressed concerns over the highly inadequate number of medical education seats in the country. He also pointed out the shortage of doctors in the country and said the workload on the existing professionals was very high. President Kovind also said the poor in the country do not get access to a good healthcare system.
Please remember that you need to give back to the society. It is true that you need to be legitimately rewarded for your academic excellence, your medical skills and your expertise. Yet, as doctors, your services must be available both to those who can afford your fees and also to those who are less fortunate and cannot afford.
Well, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu inaugurated the event marking 1,000 liver transplantations in Tamil Nadu by Gleneagles Global Hospital in Chennai today. Speaking at the event, VP Naidu said that the organ donation is a noble way of living beyond death. The Vice President also urged everyone to make organ donation a national level mass movement. He also released the book 1000 Liver Transplantation, authored by expert surgeon Dr. Muhammad Rela.
The people who have given their organs, we should really salute them. I must tell you, if anybody wants to live after death, I have a remedy. If you want to live after death also, there is a simple method. Donate your organ, you will live for life. Don't have given this even after your death. Do something good, you will be remembered. You will be remembered if you do something good to the society. There are great people who have done so much to the country and to society. We remember those people. Not everybody is going to be remembered. But if you do something to society in a small manner or big manner, you will also be remembered.
Well, a comprehensive policy to boost the country's agriculture exports is on the anvil. The Commerce and Industry Ministry will soon bring in a policy framework for facilitating access to global markets for Indian agriculture produce. The policy would focus on identifying markets, products involving states in a bid to boost agri-exports. This move would also help serve the government's objective of doubling farmers' income by 2020.
The Commerce Ministry is working on a draft agriculture export policy that will aim to boost outward shipments. All important elements such as logistics, certification and traceability of items would be part of the new policy.
Agri-export policy में कैसे हम लोग प्रोसेसिंग को, वैल्यू एडिशन को बढ़ावा दें, कैसे एक स्टेबल एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट पॉलिसी को बढ़ावा दें, कैसे हमारे जो ऑटोनोमस बॉडीज़ हैं, एपिडा, एम्पिडा, स्पाइस बोर्ड, टी बोर्ड, ये सब एक्सपोर्टर के साथ काम करें, कैसे हम लोग स्टेट्स को ज़्यादा इन्वॉल्व करें एक्सपोर्ट प्रमोशन एक्टिविटीज़ में.
The global export market for agriculture produce is worth about $1,600 billion. India is second in agriculture production in the world, but is ranked 8th in exports, with agri-exports accounting for just 10% of the country's total exports. India mainly exports tea, coffee, rice, cereals, tobacco, spices, cashew, oil meals, fruits and vegetables, and marine products.
We need to evolve our products in terms of global taste, global formulas, global packaging, and push them hard onto the retail chains.
Agricultural exports from India grew 18% to $21 billion in the April-October period in 2017-18 compared to just 5% in 2016-17. The policy works well with the government's aim to double farmers' income by 2022. Crop diversification, focus on allied sectors, food processing and tapping global markets are among the steps the government is taking to meet this target. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, here's a quick look at what else is making news across the country in our segment Nationwide. The Supreme Court on Tuesday pulled up CBI's SIT for not registering FIRs in the alleged Manipur fake encounters by the Army, Assam Rifles and police as described, or rather as directed by it earlier. The Apex Court directed the SIT to launch 30 more FIRs on or before January 31st this year, after the SIT informed it that it has registered 12 FIRs till date. The bench posted the matter for further hearing on March 12. The Apex Court was particularly referring to alleged fake encounter cases said to have taken place between 2003 and 2009. The Enforcement Directorate has summoned Rahul Yadav, another son-in-law of RJD chief Lalu Prasad, in connection with its money laundering probe in Railway Hotel's allotment corruption case. The agency has allegedly detected some funds being transferred by Rahul Yadav to his mother-in-law Rabdi Devi, the wife of Lalu Prasad. He has been summoned to depose before the investigating officer of the case on Wednesday in Delhi. The Mumbai police on Tuesday arrested co-owner of Mojo's Bistro pub, Yug Tully, in connection with the Kamala Mills fire case. He surrendered at a police station early on Tuesday morning. A sessions court has last Friday had rejected his anticipatory bail plea. Tully, a Nagpur-based businessman, had been absconding ever since the incident. The other owner of Mojo's Bistro, Yug Patak, is already under custody. It's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Prolific British poet and story writer Joseph Rudyard Kipling, one of the first masters of short stories in English. In 1894 appeared his Jungle Book, which became a children's classic all over the world. Kim, the story of Kimball O'Hara and his adventures in the Himalayas, is perhaps his most felicitous work published. Set in and concerned with India he had come to know and love so well. In 1907, Kipling became the first English language writer to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. The second test between India and South Africa is underway at the Supersport Park in Centurion. Resuming their overnight score of 90 for South Africa lost 7 wickets on day 4 of the second test. AB de Villiers top scored with 80 runs before Mohammad Shami got him out, while skipper Faf du Plessis is still at the crease. Mohammad Shami was the pick of the bowlers from the Indian side as he picked 3 wickets. Ishant Sharma and Jasprit Bumrah took 2 wickets each.
8 overs added on today, 8 overs tomorrow, all the way there. Now
well, here are some updates from the world of sports in Sports Beat. India beat Papua New Guinea by 10 wickets to enter the quarterfinals of the ongoing ICC Under-19 World Cup in New Zealand. Skipper Prithvi Shaw top scored for the Indian squad with an unbeaten 57-run knock. Batting first, Papua New Guinea were all out for just 64 runs. Left-arm spinner Anukul Roy was the pick of the bowlers as he took 5 wickets for 14 runs in his 7-over spell. New Zealand beat Pakistan by 5 wickets in the 4th ODI at Seddon Park in New Zealand to lead the series 4-0. Colin de Grandhomme played an unbeaten 74-run knock to steer the Kiwis to victory. while Colin Munro gave a solid start with his 56-run knock. Batting first, Pakistan scored 262 for 8 in their innings. Mohammad Hafiz was the top scorer for the Pakistani side with 81. Tim Saudi was the pick of the bowlers as he took 3. Former champion Maria Sharapova of Russia made her comeback to the tennis court on a winning note in the Australian Open. Sharapova defeated Germany's Tatiana Maria 6-1, 6-4 Meanwhile, in the men's draw, Serbia's Novak Djokovic celebrated his long-awaited return to the Grand Slam stage with a 6-1, 6-2, 6-4 straight sets victory over American Donald Young to reach the second round. In another match, world number 1 Simona Halep of Romania reached the second round of the Australian Open despite suffering an ankle injury during the match. Halep defeated Australian Destiny Iowa 7-6, 6-1. Iowa dominated the first set, but Halep managed to make a comeback to win the set 7-6. Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles said she was sexually abused by former GSA gymnastics team physician Larry Nassar. Biles joined a number of top gymnasts who accused Nassar of abuse, including Gabby Douglas, Ali Rameson and Michaela Meroni. Nassar was sentenced last month to 60 years in prison and on federal child pornography charges and is set to be sentenced this week in Michigan after pleading guilty to additional counts of criminal sexual conduct. Moving on to some international news now. The US is trying to convince Pakistan that India was not a threat to it and Islamabad should change its strategic stance towards New Delhi. This was revealed by the country's Defence Minister Khurram Dastagir Khan. However, he said that it was time for a courteous yet ruthlessly candid dialogue with the US, with everything on the table to remove all misunderstandings between Islamabad and Washington. Reading out a policy statement on the government's foreign policy contours and the security situation in Pakistan, Khan regretted that the US downplays India's posturing along the line of control. He also said that the perception about India was one of the most foundational differences between Pakistan and the US. Well, let's now take a look at some more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. At least 9 construction workers were killed and 5 others injured after a partially constructed motorway bridge collapsed in central Colombia. The bridge in Chirajara was to be a part of a highway connecting the capital Bogota with the city of Villavicencio. The cause of the collapse is under investigation. Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif compared cases against him to a flop movie as he appeared before an accountability court trying him for graft in the Panama Papers scandal. Sharif arrived in the court with his daughter Mariam and son-in-law Mohammad Safdar, who are co-accused in one of the cases. Lava trails came from the crater of the Philippines' most active volcano, Mayon, forcing thousands of people to evacuate. More than 12,000 residents had already fled to evacuation centers after the Mayon volcano began spewing ash. The Philippines ordered the forced evacuation of people from 2 more municipalities on Monday after chief volcanologists warned of a possible hazardous eruption. Authorities on Sunday upgraded the alert level at the Mayon volcano in Luzon to level 3 after observing steam eruptions and a bright lava glow. Well, that's it on this newscast. Do stay tuned for another program on the other side.